For 3 hours today in Gaza, the shelling and bombing and ground invasion paused so that humanitarian supplies could convoy into the sealed-off Gaza war zone. Israel's military stopped its fighting in Gaza. Hamas stopped shooting rockets into Israel for 3 hours. Then it all resumed. On this, the 13th day of the war in Gaza, there are some reports of progress toward a peace agreement. French President Nicolas Sarkozy said today that Israel and the Palestinian Authority have accepted terms of a truce proposed by France and Egypt yesterday. But sounds promising, right? But the details here are important. When Sarkozy says he has brought the Palestinian Authority on board, it's kind of like saying you negotiated with the New York Jets about who the New York Giants would draft next year. The Palestinian Authority is not the same as Hamas. The PA is in control over on the West Bank. It's Hamas who's in control in Gaza. And it's where the fighting, Gaza is where the fighting is, and it's Hamas who has been shooting rockets into Israel. Also, the idea that Israel is on board with this truce proposal, when you get right down to it, the signals there are mixed at best. News did break late today that Egypt is expecting representatives of Israel and Hamas to meet tomorrow for talks, so we will see and we will hope. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice continues to say there should be a ceasefire, but the Bush administration has appeared content to let others lead the way here, even though an emerging concern is about what the implications are for us in this, for American interests at home and around the world. In Iraq, for example, Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr issued a statement today threatening to resume attacks on American targets in Iraq because of American support for Israel's actions in Gaza. Sadr's statement said, quote, "I ask the Iraqi resistance to engage in revenge operations against the United States, the biggest partner of the Zionist enemy." Al-Sadr also called on Iraqis to put Palestinian flags on the roofs of buildings and mosques and churches in, quote, "a show of support for the Mujahideen in Gaza." Joining us now from Israel, very near the border with Gaza, is Richard Engel, NBC News chief foreign correspondent. Richard, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's always a pleasure, Rachel. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. What can you tell us, Richard, about the pace of military operations now and the situation inside Gaza?
Inside Gaza right now, there was a lull today, but like clockwork, as soon as that 3-hour truce was over, Hamas once again started its rocket launches. There were about 20 rockets that Hamas sent into Israel today. And then Israel also continued its military operations, focusing mainly in the southern Gaza Strip, destroying 9 homes that were built over tunnels. These are smuggling tunnels that Hamas has used in the past to bring weapons into the Gaza Strip, which it fires into Israel. But a lot of the activity is the building momentum around the peace initiatives. There are, however, several different peace initiatives. One senior Israeli official told me there are 10 different international peace proposals that are being forwarded. Many people are just trying to get into the act, but the one that seems to be gaining the most momentum is this one proposed by Egypt and France.
On that proposal from Egypt and France, we heard from an Egyptian official today that they expect Israel and Hamas to be talking tomorrow on Thursday. Have you heard anything about Israel's inclinations toward a ceasefire, how favorable they're viewing that proposal?
Israel has not accepted the proposal, despite what Sarkozy said. Hamas has not either. So we're not. This is not a done deal. It is not a turning point. A lot of it revolves around the order. The Egyptians say that there should be an immediate ceasefire and then negotiations to talk about exactly what mechanisms will be put in place to prevent Hamas from bringing rockets into the Gaza Strip. Israel wants it the other way around. Israel wants there to be a full agreement in place, agreed upon, before there is any ceasefire, and that is a fundamental difference.
Richard, one of the major factors that affects how the international community views what's going on in Gaza is how much access we have to information about what's happening in Gaza, how many images we get, how close reporters can get. It's important to note that you are not inside Gaza, that you are on the Israel border close to Gaza. Have you heard anything about whether or not Israel will lift the restrictions on allowing foreign journalists into Gaza?
Every single day, reporters have been petitioning to the Israeli government to ask for access. I've called every day and said, when are we going to be allowed in? And one Israeli official had an interesting explanation of this. He said that right now Israel doesn't want foreign journalists or journalists in general inside the Gaza Strip reporting about the humanitarian situation in there, reporting about the military activities, partly for tactical reasons. They don't want anyone giving away battle details, which is understandable, but mostly to try and manage the image. And the Israelis have timed this out. This official told me that he expects this operation, while negotiations are taking place, will last several more days, and that after that, reporters would eventually be allowed in. But at that stage, Israel is assuming the United States will mostly be focused on all of the coverage around the inauguration, and that viewers simply won't care at that point.
Wow, that's the kind of strategic decision you don't think about when you think about military operations, but I guess that's almost as important as anything else. Richard Engel, NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Get a good night's sleep. Stay safe.
A pleasure. Thank you.